The night was dark and oppressive, the moon hidden behind a thick shroud of ominous clouds. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying an eerie, unnatural chill. A small village nestled deep in the heart of the Mexican countryside was cloaked in an eerie silence. Fear had taken hold of the community, for they knew the legend of the Chupacabra, a creature that had terrorized their ancestors for generations. As the townsfolk huddled in their homes, their hearts raced with trepidation. No one dared venture outside after dark, for the legend of the Chupacabra was not to be taken lightly. It was said to be a monstrous beast, a demon that roamed the night, feasting on the blood of livestock and, some claimed, humans. Maria, a young woman with raven-black hair and a spirit that burned as fiercely as the candles that flickered in her small, dimly lit room, couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She had heard the stories from her grandmother, tales of livestock found drained of their blood, their lifeless bodies discarded like discarded husks. The mere mention of the Chupacabra sent shivers down her spine. One fateful evening, as Maria lay in her bed, she heard a faint, eerie sound. It was a low, guttural growl, like nothing she had ever heard before. Her heart pounded in her chest as she strained to listen. The sound grew closer, and with each passing moment, terror seized her. She could hear the soft, padded footsteps drawing nearer, as if something was creeping closer to her window. The room was pitch black, and Maria could see nothing but the inky darkness beyond her window. The growl grew louder, more menacing, and the air grew heavy with a foul stench, like rotting flesh. She knew she had to move, had to do something, but her body was paralyzed with fear. Then, without warning, the room was flooded with an eerie, otherworldly. Maria's heart leapt into her throat as she turned to see the source. Through the window, a pair of glowing, malevolent eyes stared back at her. The eyes were blood red, their gaze filled with a hunger that sent shivers down her spine. Maria's scream pierced the silence of the night, and the creature outside let out a hideous, inhuman shriek in response. It was the Chupacabra, the very embodiment of her worst nightmare. It was tall and gaunt, with leathery, grayish skin stretched tightly over its skeletal frame. Its claws were long and razor-sharp, and it had fangs that dripped with blood. Desperation overcame Maria as she scrambled for her phone. She dialed the number for the village's emergency line, but the line was dead. Panic welled up inside her as she realized that she was completely alone, trapped with this abomination outside her window. The Chupacabra began to scratch at the glass, its claws producing a grating sound that made Maria's skin crawl. It was relentless, and she knew that it was only a matter of time before it broke through. With trembling hands, she reached for a small crucifix on her bedside table, clutching it tightly and praying for salvation. The night stretched on, and Maria's cries for help went unanswered. The Chupacabra continued its assault on her window, its malevolent presence filling the room with dread. As the first rays of dawn began to break, the creature suddenly retreated, disappearing into the darkness from whence it came. Maria was left shaken and traumatized, her life forever scarred by the encounter. The legend of the Chupacabra had become all too real for her, a nightmare that would haunt her for the rest of her days. And in the village below, the people whispered in hushed tones, knowing that the Chupacabra was real and that it could strike again at any moment, shrouding their lives in eternal fear.